but one of the things that I was kind of interested in Alexander, or that I found interesting about Alexander, I should say, is that okay, so he hits he hits India, and he wants to keep going. He wants to go and conquer more and just keep winning more. And I listened to a couple of, this was kind of swirling around in my head. Part of it may have been running an empire is really boring, right? Like you talked about listening to a bunch of court cases, you're getting a bunch of letters from people. You
Yeah.
don't really care about that. And you just kind of say to yourself, I know what I'm doing out in the field. But his soldiers sort of mutiny against him, or at least that's the way it's recounted. What happened? I mean, obviously, we may not ever actually know, but they they turn back, and he ends up in Babylon, where he's going to set up his empire for the future. But let's play a little historical what if. Let's say he doesn't die from whatever it is that kills him. And we know there's some legend about that. And we'll talk about the terrible movies that have been made about Alexander in a little bit. But what do you think would have happened if he had not died? Do you think he goes back to India? I know they talked maybe he's going to go more into the Arabian Peninsula. Would he go back west and maybe hit Rome up and see what's going on in Italy? What do you think he would have done?
Well, the one thing we're pretty sure he would have done is the conquest of Arabia. There were plans to do that. So had he not died, there were plans to conquer Arabia. Um, I don't know if you conquer Arabia, that leaves you obviously the coast. Does that mean that you conquer, Ethiopia, right? Or do you go through Egypt and then go south? Right. I mean, at this time, Rome is just starting to make its way as the most powerful political force and military force in Italy. It's only 50 years after Alexander dies that and a late, like a cousin, right? A cousin of Alexander, an Epirote king by the name of Pyrrhus, will Alexander fight against the Romans and win a few battles and then and then lose the last one. It's hard to tell. I do think that I think Alexander is the type of guy would have gotten bored, and he would have then he would have tried to amass, recruit another army, maybe of more of Persians and other folks in that area, and he would have gone off conquering. It's probably in some ways to his benefit that he did not, because I don't know. Sometimes your luck runs out, right? Maybe the Romans had he marched into Rome, the amount of manpower and the culture of the Romans might have meant that they never would have given up, right? No matter how many times Alexander defeated them. But for the first, I mean, the sure thing we can be somewhat certain is he would have conquered all of the lands of Arabia. Obviously, the ones worth conquering, not the scorching desert parts.
Where all the where all the Roman emperors went to die at some point.
I mean, even the things, yes, even a few emperors that tried to imitate Alexander, like Trajan, they conquered Mesopotamia, and then they quickly realized it was difficult to hold.